Alright guys, anywho, my name is Nikki Maloney. I'm a recovered drug addict and alcoholic. Hi guys. Hi. Hello, are we done? Okay, great. This is not a meeting. This is not a meeting that is affiliated with any of the 12-step fellowships. Please do not mention any of the 12-step fellowships. We are just a bunch of people reading out of this book, studying it, sharing our experiences, breaking down what the words actually mean. Yeah, so this will be posted to YouTube as it is every week. So if you do not want your names to be posted on the interwebs, please do not say your name. Yeah, that's all. Great. Let's be quiet for a second. It's been a weird day for me, okay? Shut up. Okay. Are we on page 20? Yeah, we're on page 20. That's a fact. Okay. Let's just reread that one paragraph again for the sake of context and just go for it. So it says, how many times people have said to us, I can take it or leave it alone. Why can't they? Why don't you drink like a lady or gentleman or quit? That person can't handle their liquor. Why don't you try beer and wine? Lay off the hard stuff. Their willpower must be weak. They could stop if they wanted to. They're such a sweet partner. I should think that they'd stop for their sake. The doctor told them that if they ever drank again, it would kill them. But there they are, all lit up again. I've gotten good at seamlessly changing the pronouns, you know? Right? Fuck men.
I like it.
Sorry. But yeah, so anywho, I mean, obviously they're just talking about alcohol here, but I don't know about you guys. I can move this to anything. It still works. I remember when I moved to Texas, the hope of my family and myself was to stop doing heroin, right? Just like be a normal human, get a job, be a functioning member of society, smoke some weed, drink, and just chill, right? My dad stopped smoking crack, and he just smoked weed, so why not I? And when I could not do that, and I ended up being a feral cat in the fucking Rio Grande Valley, just finding any cocaine and pills and heroin that I could find, my dad was very disappointed. He's like, just smoke weed. And I'm like, I would love to be able to just do that. Lay off the hard stuff, right? Exactly. And I cannot, damn it. Overstimulated. I just fucking can't do it. So as they're saying all these things about me and to me, I'm also thinking the same thing, right? I'm not in my own little fucking dope fiend brain thinking, God, I'm just so sick. I'm just this poor little drug addict who just doesn't have power of choice, and none of that's coming into my brain. What's coming into my brain is I'm a piece of shit and I keep choosing to do this, and you're right, why can't I just do that? It's not and the question that was posed to me as a child when I would fuck up was, do you not care or are you just stupid? And I'm I know that I care, so I must just be fucking stupid, right? Yeah.
Is this frothy emotional appeal?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Frothy, light and entertaining, but with little substance, right? Because it's not just that. That's definitely a part of it. To me, that sentence encompasses a lot of different things. And it's just come on, man, you can just cut it out, bro. And I'm
Stop being sad.
Yeah, stop being sad. Just calm down.
Don't be anxious. Just
don't be anxious.
Depressed. You have no reason to.
Right. Don't be an alcoholic.
This girl in the psych ward told me one time, she was you don't tell an asthmatic when they're having asthma attack, just breathe. Breathe.
That's a fact.
That's telling us to just stop. Or stop being sad. Or you don't tell a diabetic when you're have high blood sugar, just calm down.
Yeah.
Stop. Yeah.
No, you're right. No, the only reason why I just had such a moment with you saying that is because there was someone in my life for a very long time that was extremely asthmatic and would smoke weed constantly, but wouldn't smoke cigarettes. And when I did, she'd be you're such a fucking addict, that she's literally shooting heroin. And I always kept an inhaler in my pocket, right? So she's having an asthmatic fit. I don't say, hey, I just need you to take some deep breaths.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's here's a fucking inhaler, right? But And then like that, this is how ADHD my brain is. This is how much just went through my head in that 5-second span, right? So like I keep an inhaler for this human, and I'm constantly smoking in front of her and in enclosed areas, causing the asthmatic episodes. So I think about like our friends and our families, right? They're like, hey, I need you to stop. No, you're not drinking today. I'm taking the alcohol. I'm not letting you do this. And then like, okay, well, you've been doing so good. Let's go to the bar. Let's celebrate. You've been 6 months sober. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like puts you in all these like really shitty situations that just like makes the spirituality just like fucking elevate into a new level, and the mental obsession comes back and no one's getting it. I mean, and some of us even have families that are like, you don't need those fucking meetings.
Yeah.
Just stop. Have any of y'all ever heard someone actually say, I'm gonna put you through daddy detox?
Oh, I did that. My dad took away all my prescription pills for 2 weeks and then made me ride a bike up a hill and like do manual hard work, says that'll get me sober, get my head right.
Mm-hmm.
Outside will do it.
Yeah. I've heard literal humans being like, I'm gonna detox my daughter. Like lock her in a room.
Yeah.
My son, like whoever it is, right? And they're like, I have the solution. I'm like, you don't have the solution. When I fucking detoxed on the car ride from New York to Texas, bro, I was mid-opiate detox. Literally just my everything dying. And my parents were like, you know what you need? You know what you gotta do? We're gonna go to the zoo. We went to the fucking zoo. Okay? In the Rio Grande Valley. Right? So I'm used to New York weather. It is 100 degrees. And they're like, see, you just need to get out of your head. And I walk around like, I hate you. I hate you more than I've ever hated anything that's ever existed. I hope you die. Like, it was just the worst experience of my entire life. And that's not that we're talking about frothy emotional appeal, right? But like the antithesis of frothy emotional appeal is depth and weight, which is one drunk or one dope fiend talking to another. Right? So it's like when I have these people who don't know what it's like, they're going to bring you to the fucking zoo. They're going to make you ride your bike up a fucking hill and put you to work. And if you just get a job, then you'll have fucking good self-worth. And if you have good self-worth, then you're going to stop getting fucked up till you die. Right? Because that's my problem, is I'm not grateful enough, or I don't love myself enough, which is bullshit. A lot of us have plenty high ideas of who we are. You know what I mean?
So you don't love them enough.
Right, you don't love it, and I'm just like dying every night crying because I feel so guilty. Like, none of that's the issue. The issue is I have a part of my brain that doesn't let me make a fucking sane choice around drugs and drinking, right? There I am, all lit up again, right? So these are commonplace observations on drinkers, which we hear all the time. Back of them is a world of ignorance and misunderstanding. We see that these expressions refer to people whose reactions are very different from ours. Moderate drinkers have little trouble in giving up liquor entirely if they have good reason for it. They can take it or leave it alone. It's a lot of people we know, a lot of people we see every day. And I think that in my experience, moderate drinkers have more of an open mind to us. I'll explain that in a second. Then we have a certain type of hard drinker. He may have the habit badly enough to gradually impair him physically and mentally. It may cause him to die a few years before his time if a sufficiently strong reason, ill health, falling in love, change of environment, or the warning of a doctor becomes operative. This man can also stop or moderate, although he may find it difficult and troublesome and may even need medical attention. These are the ones who don't get it. These are the ones who shame us more than anybody, in my belief, in my experience. Right? Sometimes moderate drinkers do, because they're like, get your fucking shit together, you're a mess. But the hard ones that like think that they're one of us and they turn out not to be, they don't understand the difference between them and us. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? So I would go and get a haircut at this one place in Kerrville. But we end up going into what my job was at the time and talking about recovery, and she's like, oh yeah, I used to be a drug addict and now I'm not. And I'm like, that's great. You know, because like, what am I gonna do? I'm sitting there fucking getting my hair cut. I'm like, don't do it. Just don't do the thing. You don't have to do the thing that you do. you know. And she was like, yeah, I did meth for a really long time. And then, you know, I was a real bad drug addict. And then I had kids. And that was my priority. So I stopped. And I just don't understand what my baby daddy's problem is. He won't fucking stop because he doesn't fucking care enough. And he keeps being in and out of these fucking rehabs. And he won't fucking stop. And he's just a piece of shit. And I'm like, hard user, real deal drug addict, right? How can I possibly help her understand when she's not asking for information? You know what I mean? And I'm like, is it my job? I don't know. I ended up having her for like 3 or 4 different times, so it would keep coming up and the conversation would evolve, right? And I'm like, so actually, you know, the brain of the addict, what it sounds like is he doesn't not care. It sounds like he's like me. You know, like you were kind of like me too, but like you got to do this cool thing where like you pulled yourself up by the bootstraps and had priorities, and that's great. But like me, God, I wish I could have done that. You know what I mean? Like phrases are kind of manipulative, right? Just like, please God, hear me. Because that's the thing. Because then someone like that looks at fucking other moms who are actual drug addicts and they don't get it. I get it. Right? We get it. We're not sitting there shaming you like, oh, you piece of shit, you're fucking no, you're not choosing anything. Like, let's get fucking clear on that. So, and that's where the conversation goes, like, within our community, when we're actually clear on what's going on, is I'm never going to ask you to choose your children because that's what you've been trying to do this whole time. It doesn't fucking work. I'm going to ask you to choose to get over yourself and do this work that seems really, really, really hard and stupid and futile, like it's never gonna work for you, and just like trust that it will and fucking do it, right? Because doing it and you can do it, whatever your motivation is, doesn't fucking matter, right? But you just can't stay sober with that motivation. You have to do the work with that motivation. You know what I'm saying? I end up having those conversations way more often than I feel like the average person does. Like, these people just find me. You know, these like hard drunks are like, I was a drunk for fucking 20 years and I stopped. I'm like, okay. Do y'all run it? Is that just me? Do you guys?
My brother's like that.
Thank you.
So bad.
I'm like, I know it's not just me having these conversations with people.
He's like, he did meth for a really long time and then just stopped. And like, I envy that, right? But also like now it makes him where he's like, well, I could just stop.
Y'all know I can get a little, you notice I'm trying to keep myself even calmer just going into the conversation. I can get a little hyped up about, you know, the idea that like everyone can come, like everyone, it's all about self-diagnosis in 12-step fellowships when it's really not. You can't just decide that you're an alcoholic. You can't just decide that you're an addict when you are able to just stop given sufficient reason, you know?
I did an H&I the other day, and there was this kid that was in there, and he was like, but it's my choice. Like, it's my choice to drink and use, so it's my fucking fault. Like, it's my choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just, like, crying inside. I was
Yeah.
like, dude, it's not your choice. I felt bad.
No, 100%. And that's like we do that a lot. A, because that's what everyone else tells us, and B, the shame. Like, I'm not going to give myself that cop out. No, I'm a piece of shit. I'm clear on that, you know? It's like, no, actually you're not. Oh, let's talk about it. But we end up with a lot of people in the rooms that don't have to do the work and don't have to have self-reflection, and they just stay sober because they go to 12 meetings a week and they drink the shitty coffee and spout fucking slogans all day every day. And then like people like us go into those rooms looking for help, and this book is nowhere to be found and no one's talking about it, and they just keep saying just keep coming back and acceptance is the answer and all that shit, and we don't get well because no one's telling us how to do it, right? And I mean, I do, like, when it comes to like people saying that this program needs to be updated because the numbers are so low, I believe that the program needs to go back to what it was supposed to be in the first place because the numbers were so fucking low. We don't talk about the actual fucking solution. I'm not going to go. There's a whole rabbit hole I can go down into right now, but I'm not going to. Hard drinkers go in there, they're able to stop given sufficient reason, even if it's just a fellowship. We go in there, we don't get the fucking solution, we end up dying. Over and over and over and over and over, right? So, what about the real alcoholic? They may start off as a moderate drinker. They may or may not become a continuous hard drinker. But at some stage of their drinking career, they begin to lose all control of their liquor consumption once they start to drink. Here's a fellow, whatever, I'm just going to go back to normal. Here's a fellow who has been puzzling you, especially in this lack of control. He does absurd, incredible, tragic things while drinking. He is a real Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He is seldom mildly intoxicated. He is always more or less insanely drunk. His disposition while drinking resembles his normal nature but little. He may be one of the funnest fellows in the world, yet let him drink for a day, and he frequently becomes disgustingly and even dangerously antisocial. He has a positive genius for getting tight at exactly the wrong moment, particularly when some important decision must be made or engagement kept. He is often perfectly sensible and well-balanced concerning everything except liquor, but in that respect, he is incredibly dishonest and selfish. He often possesses special abilities, skills, and aptitudes, and has a promising career ahead of him. He uses his gifts to build up a bright outlook for his family and himself, and then pulls the structure down on his head by a senseless series of sprees. He's a fellow who goes to bed so intoxicated he ought to sleep the clock around. Yet early next morning, he searches madly for the bottle he misplaced the night before. If he can afford it, he may have liquor concealed all over his house to be certain no one gets his entire supply away from him to throw down the waste pipe. As matters grow worse, he begins to use a combination of high-powered sedative and liquor to quiet his nerves so he can go to work. Then comes the day when he simply cannot make it and gets drunk all over again. Perhaps he goes to a doctor who gives him morphine or some sedative with which to taper off. Then he begins to appear at hospitals and sanitariums. This is by no means a comprehensive picture of the true alcoholic, as their behavior patterns vary, but this description should identify him roughly. Yikes. I don't know why my voice was like taken away from that. The first time I read this, I did not think about me. Because the first time I read this, I did not believe that I was an alcoholic. I believed that I was a drug addict, only addicted to one drug. The other things weren't my problem. I just did them to supplement when I didn't have the other drugs, so it's not an issue. And they made me read this book, and I thought it was stupid. But as I was reading this part, everything already started to hit me, because I think I was already through Bill's story, and I was like, fuck. It was still really hard for me to wrap my head around the alcoholic part, right? So as soon as I saw Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, my first thought, and I still remember it, I know exactly where I was sitting when I was reading it. I could see my little self with my baggy fucking pants and my taper fade with my like whatever. And all I could think about was my stepdad, because this is him to a fucking T. You know, meek, sweet, kind, gentle man, right? The most like, you'd never think anything. 2 tall boys in. Who the fuck is it? The scariest guy I've ever met? Like one of the biggest parts of my childhood trauma. You know what I mean? And reading this about him and understanding step 1 really, really fucked me up the first time. And it made step 1 hard for me. You know, and I say that because I know I'm not the only one who had a hard time understanding the, like, not having power of choice over that first drink of drug wasn't just about me. It was about the people in my lives I had to start to have compassion for, because they were also like me. And that's fucking hard, right? Because my whole life, if you look at my first ever 4-step, it's stepdad, why, chose alcohol over me. Mom, why, chose alcohol over me. This person, why, chose drugs over me. Right? Over and over and over. And if I can get down with the fact that, I mean, I don't have a choice. I have to get down with the fact that I'm not making that choice. I'm not choosing drugs over you. I'm just not. because if that was the case, then I could choose not to, right? And that's just not what's happening. So if I get down with that, I have to get down with that for them, and that's just a whole level of shit that I wasn't ready to look at. But I had no other fucking choice. The other choice was continuing on to the bitter end, right? Do y'all have any experience like that, or anything else to add to that?
I do. I worked in treatment and women would come in pregnant, shooting dope, and I couldn't stand them. And I would ask, like, what the fuck is wrong with them? I wouldn't say that to them.
Yeah.
But I put stipulations on step 1.
Yeah.
Because then I went on to get pregnant. And I couldn't stop drinking to save my life.
Yeah.
And it's, for me, it's just like, when I put a stipulation on step 1, I don't get step 1.
Yeah. Come on.
And I didn't. It did not resonate with me. I can admit it, but I didn't accept it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing, well, I mean, I don't know about the whole, like, sweet, upstanding person. I am completely different. My eyes turn black.
Yeah.
I say the most vile things to anybody,
Yeah.
including my mom, you know, and I mean, back then she wasn't my best friend, but today, like, it's crazy. Like, my mom was my best friend when for so long I hated her.
Yeah.
And so you can only imagine the things I've said. But, like when I read that, I get it. Because, I mean, I can be nice. I mean, you know what? Let me rephrase that. Today, I know I'm just nicer today. I don't know why. I don't know how. I'm not so angry. I'm not all these things that I used to be, you know? But, like, before, I would get sober, and then I could still be a doctor, Mr. Jekyll, Dr. whatever, Jekyll and Hyde. You know, I could still just be real nice right now, and then 2 seconds later, flip into a maniac, you know?
Yeah.
Sober. So, yeah, I get it. Sorry.
No, absolutely. Don't be sorry.
This reminds me of the actors. The actor and like winning control, being 2 different people. What page is that on? I was trying to find
I think you're thinking of the stage character and in step 3, the actor and the director.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
part. Where you're the stage character, you're wanting to be the actor and the director, but you're just the stage character. And you're trying to control, you're being one way sometimes, but you're also being X, Y, and Z at other times.
I know, and you know, on my first 4 step, delusional as fucking hell. I was angry at my dad when I went to treatment because he got popped 7 days later, and I thought because I went to treatment that meant he would put the drug down too. Delusional, because if I need treatment and he is an addict, not diagnosing him, but like still, if it's gonna take me going to treatment, he's not just gonna see his daughter go to treatment and stop shooting dope too.
Right.
But in my mind, I wholeheartedly believed that.
It should be enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he pushed me to go and he wanted me to go, and I'm like, okay, if you're pushing me and telling me not to lose his fucking grandkids, then how the fuck are you getting arrested? But
That's fucking real. Have I not inspired you enough?
yeah.
Yeah, but
Don't you
also,
love me enough? Like,
but also us as fucking dope fiends and drunks, like actively getting fucked up, pushing people into treatment. I have done that so many times. I'm like, you need help. You know what I mean? Like, I'm so scared for you. Like, I pushed them into detox. I'd shame them, you know, out of fear, out of love, out of being, like, doing that in sick, right? No one ever taught me how to love anyone in a healthy way.
yeah.
Or how to love anyone properly, honestly. Like, I felt love, but I couldn't act love. And that's what I mean about Gemma. You know what I'm saying? Sons of Anarchy. Anyway. Whatever. Anyway.
I love her.
I love her. Thank you. I know. Me too. Because here's my thing is that, like, and we're on the same page, but also different chapters. Totally different chapters. Same page, different book. Right? Like, I believe that Gemma loves Jax and loves those kids so much. but she has no idea how to love them with actions, and she's so fucking sick. And I also translate it to Monica from fucking Shameless, because she's actually a dope fiend. Gemma's just a fucking psychopath. Different thing. Totally different thing. We're not psychopaths. We act like psychopaths as the result of our addictions, right? Monica from Shameless, she is one of us, and we can see how much she loves those fucking kids so much, but she cannot stop getting fucked up, right? She tried to kill herself in front of them on Thanksgiving. Is that a sane choice? No. Is that something she wanted to do? No. She wants to be a fucking mom, but she knows she can't. She keeps running away, right? We can, like, all of these different things that we talk about, being dangerously antisocial, right? Like, disgustingly hiding shit everywhere, being puzzling to everyone, right? In some way, shape, or form, we've all shown up in that way, right? Like, I always thought that I was, like, such an honest person. Like, I can't steal. I have too much anxiety to steal. Even if I want to steal, I can't do it. Get me fucked up, I can steal a little bit. Or get me dope sick enough, I can steal a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I can, like, the people that I love, like, I pride myself on my loyalty. Right? Like, the most loyal human, kill and die for any of my friends. And I will steal their dope and help them look for it. You know?
Or like, I was thinking, like, a lot of us are moms in the room. Like, I was a good mom.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I wouldn't drink around my daughter. I wouldn't use around my daughter or anything like that. But when she was away, when she was with her dad, I was doing all of the promiscuous things, all of the X, Y, and Z. But I was a good mom.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I was not in, it was like Jekyll and Hyde with me, because, like, when I was with her, but then when I wasn't with her,
Yeah.
I was.
And that speaks to the progressiveness too, right? Because, like, God, fuck, what's happening to me? Because, like, when I was talking about this the other day, like, I used to be able to put someone into detox, and then I detox myself, and I would stop, and I would detox myself, but at the end, I got, you know, the person I'm with into detox, and I can't stop getting fucked up, and I'm like, what is happening? I showed up to a meeting drunk. Never in all my days I think I'd ever fucking do that, but I did it, and I'm like, I don't know what's, and I have, like, the fucking 40 ounce, and I'm such a trash bag, like, I go straight to 40s and vodka, like, that's my deal, but I'm not an alcoholic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm, like, overdosing on dust off on my fucking couch, right? And my biggest fear was ever having kids and putting them through what I fucking went through, because my mom was way more progressed than that. You know, she was getting fucked. She was pregnant with me. I was born addicted to crack. You know what I mean? She was using when I was around. They were fucking drunk when I was around. And being able to, like, come to terms with that she was just super fucking sick, right? And then I ended up being with someone who had kids. And my, like, main thing is I'm not going to get fucked up around them. You know, and I was sober for the most part when I was in that. But when I wasn't, I couldn't hold to them anymore. I just couldn't. And I was like, fuck. Every resentment, everything that I judged people for, including my own fucking parents, I'm like, why couldn't you just? I ended up doing. Because I have the same fucking brain. And it's not because I didn't love them. And it's not because I didn't care. And it's not because I'm a bad fucking person. And it's not because I'm a piece of shit. It's because this fucking disease takes away all of my principles, all of my morals, all of my convictions, everything that I want to do, all of my fucking aspirations. This disease does not give a fuck what I want, right? And that's been made clear to me over and over and over again.
Can I say something really quick?
I would love
so
for
I
you to.
had my Nick knows, but when I first moved here, like, for context, I cut off everyone from back home, like, out of shame. Like, I didn't want anyone to know where I was, fear, the whole thing. And one of my best friends that, like, her family took me in when I was in high school, and I'm so anxious talking about this. Her family took me in high school, and we were super close. She was really mean, honestly, but we were super close up until I left to go to treatment. Like, she testified in court for me against my ex. for me to get the restraining order. Like, she has gone to bat for me for years and years and years. Well, she messaged me last night that she's moving to Dallas. Woo! Like, worlds colliding, fucking weird. It's crazy. And so she messaged me, there's a point to this. She messaged me and she was like, you know, I want you to know that I could always see through the shit that you did. And like, I knew that you didn't want to be that person. And like, that's so intense to see from someone, because she told me that she's been off of pills for 3 years, but she like smokes weed and drinks. And she's like she's a hard user. Like, I always knew she wasn't like me. She did not fucking use like me. Like, I went fucking hard. But to hear that just like reminded me of like, cause all this shit that I carry, like I crashed the car with her in it and almost killed us when I was 18 years old. I'm not kidding. Like, fell asleep at the wheel, drank a whole bottle of Absolute to myself, fucking crashed it, airbags, left it on the side of the road, we fucking dipped. And like, I almost killed us, you know? Like, totaled my car. And like, I still carry that shit, you know? And like, it takes moments like that for me to remember, because the truth is like, I wasn't just out of character when I was using. Like, when I was sober, I was not in control of my emotional nature at all.
Facts.
Like, my first example is I was living with roommates in California, and this girl came in to get her key fob to go to the gym, because we only had one key fob. And she came in, took my purse out, went to the kitchen. I'm fucking still coked out from the fucking 2 hours ago that I was using, but I'm like technically more sober than I was 2 hours ago, right? And I go out there and I'm fucking pounding the granite table, like literally bruised my whole hand because I was fucking smashing the table, screaming at her, being like, I don't know who the fuck you think you are. You know what I mean? And like, there's no other way to explain that other than I completely am not in control of who I am, you know? And then just the using just amplifies that. And so that's where a lot of compassion can come in when people are really sick, you know? But yeah, I just thought that was wild, but this is where we're at when I got that last night. That's been a trip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The collision of worlds.
Seriously.
I know it. Why does he behave like this? If hundreds of experiences have shown him that one drink means another debacle with all its attendant suffering and humiliation, why is it he takes that one drink? Why can't he stay on the water wagon? What has become of the common sense and willpower that he still sometimes displays with respect to other matters? I would say, like, nothing that we do lives in a void or in a vacuum, right? So just like even Haley's saying that, right? Like, obviously it's not like I'm fucked up one day and the next day I'm just this really cool human that's like really clear and on everything and takes ownership for things and super considerate. That's just not fucking true, right? Because there's something happening in me that leads me back there, and that's just not okay internally, even though I am still able, like, what I think about is her saying, like, what was it that she fucking said? Like, I knew,
Like, I could see through all the horrible shit you did. Like, I knew that you were your character. I knew your character, essentially.
exactly.
'Cause she was like, I always saw you.
So, God, those words. Because it's true. Like, even when we're fucking sick and all that shit, like, there's still that part of us that's still fucking alive, and it wants to come out so fucking bad. And then drinking and getting fucked up just amplifies fucking Mr. Hyde. Dr. Jekyll cannot be found in a substantial way that changes anything. So why do I keep behaving like this? Hundreds of experiences have shown me, and that, like, those fucking thoughts over, I'm like, I know what's gonna happen. Why am I doing this? And we talked about that last week, and we're gonna be in step 1 for a while, so it does get pretty fucking heavy, is just the truth. The common sense and willpower that I still sometimes display with respect to other matters, right? A lot of times people come into this, and, you know, I've seen such a variety of people's jobs, personalities, financial situations, right? As corny as it fucking is, it's like that whole from jail to yell, this disease doesn't discriminate. It's so fucking true. Because honestly, a lot of times people come into this deal and they think that they're too successful to be one of us. Like, I own a company. I own a Fortune 500 company, and I can't possibly, not me, and I have all this money, and I've done all these things, and I, have a fucking master's degree, and they'll just fucking keep talking about their master's degree like anyone gives a fuck.
It's like, cool, dude, but you're fucking miserable.
Right, you're drunk.
Or like their
You're with
consequences
us.
don't look the same.
They're,
Right.
Like, if you
exactly.
think of someone in poverty, like their consequences are gonna
I've
be
never
more
been
than a fucking
homeless.
millionaire over there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
Literally, and that's like where I hate those, because those pamphlets fucking exist, and I've seen them, I've held them in my hand, and I'm like, what? Check off, let's see, are you an alcoholic? Let's see, have you ever had a DUI? Nope. Okay. I'm like, I don't have a car. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever wrecked a car? Nope, don't have one. I never drove, it wasn't me. Great. Have you ever been homeless? Sure haven't. My dad did drugs with me. No one's kicking me out of anything. You know what I mean? Not just my dad, my mom too. All of them. We all got fucked up. Great. Have you ever lost a job? Never had a job. You know? Like all these fucking things that they try to qualify us on, and it just doesn't fucking matter. Because the consequences don't qualify us as drug addicts and alcoholics, right? Because then we have all these fucking I always go back to I'm just middle-aged woman who just likes my mimosas. I just have my fucking mimosas, and it's not a big deal. I'm like, you've had 30 mimosas within 2 hours. It's a problem, right? And they're like, well, I'm not a drug addict. I'm like, listen, just because you've gone to 5 different doctors to get 4 different prescriptions for your clonazepam doesn't mean that you're not one of us, right? Just because you're not buying it from a dope dealer on the fucking corner doesn't make you any less of a drug addict.
I feel attacked with that mimosa.
Someone always does. I've been saying it for 10 years.
Yesterday she was like, I was gonna name my daughter's middle name Mimosa.
Shut
and
up.
nobody was on board with it. I'm like, I wonder why.
Middle name Mimosa. Sophia Mimosa is a cute name.
It is actually
It's a
cute.
flower.
I'm not gonna
It's
lie.
a flower.
I'm also gonna name my son Jack Daniels. You know? Jim Beam. Let's just
Love
fucking
those
go
names
for it.
you.
Yeah. Sophia Mimosa,
Absolute vodka.
Jacqueline Smirnoff. They're all cute. 100%. Ooh, yikes.
I think that's my tag on social media. I almost named my daughter Mimosa.
It should be. If it's
It
not.
is.
Proud of you. We love that. I mean, I literally called myself Nikki Narcotics. You know, we just kind of make our identities this way, whether we realize it or
But I
not.
mean, I didn't have consequences really. I've never
Sure.
been to jail or anything like that. And
Yeah.
my dad doesn't think anytime,
Mhm.
this sounds so bad, anytime my grandparent died, he would go into the bathroom and take all their pain pills, and he was like, I've never done a drug in my life. I've never done anything like that. I've just drank alcohol and I never get drunk. I'm like, Dad, you still get pills. He's like, it's not illegal. I've been prescribed that before. I'm like,
Literally
I'm
that.
like, Dad, is your name on the bottle? No, it's not yours.
That is technically drug abuse.
Yeah.
Did you know? Fun fact. Right. Yeah, man, just because you have the money to go doctor shopping doesn't make you fucking better than me.
Yeah.
You know, and what's heartbreaking, honestly, about that is that they have all the money in the world to go to all these fancy treatment centers that give you acupuncture, and you go and ride horses, and you get massages, and you have a TV in every room, and you just have to keep going, because you can't get fucking sober. Because you're fucking one of us, man. And acupuncture isn't gonna fucking cure alcoholism or drug addiction that you don't have. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like that. I'm like the opposite. Like, I was like that, like, trash bag from the streets. I'm like, I'm not an alcoholic, I'm a fucking heroin addict. And then you have, like, the bougie ones are like, I don't do drugs, I just drink. And I'm like, no, we're both the same. We're both the same. You just have yours in pill form. I got the cheaper version. Poverty, you know?
I was in the Army and I went to jail and I kept going to jail, but this girl came and she kept getting arrested for crack. And I was like, man, you better change your life. Crackhead. She's like, You're a fucking alcoholic, bitch. You're no different than me. I was like, what?
You don't
So
say that.
But I wasn't.
Yeah, no.
She was just a sweet little
That was me when I came in.
Yeah.
I was about to say, like, however, on the flip side, like, whenever I first got into the program, I would, like, we've talked about this before, but I would be like, oh, you're an alcoholic? Pussy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you don't shoot, don't fucking talk to me.
Yeah,
That's how,
literally.
man, this last run that I went on, it was just crazy. It was just drugs. And, man, heroin addicts, fentanyl, all of that, y'all keep coming in and out. Y'all don't know how to breathe, right? I mean,
I know, like, that's not you.
well, it is me,
Mhm.
but what I'm saying.
Literally.
I get that. I got that, like, that towards the end with cocaine. I'm like, I don't know how you're fucking surviving. Like, this girl I still know, who's, like, the biggest cokehead I've ever met in my whole entire fucking life, still using the same way that she was. And, like, even thinking about it gives me, like, heart palpitations. Real deal alcoholic.
The compare and contrast thing, because like I can't imagine that. Your life sounds like a nightmare to me. Like I know we've talked about, like mine seems like really dark, you know, but yours sounds like my actual nightmare. I'd rather die. I'd rather live my life than yours any day. You know?
Really bad.
Yeah, just like miserable. And the idea that like and again that we do that thing where it's like, oh, I'm not this and I'm not that, so I'm good. Are you able to stop giving sufficient reason? When you're getting loaded, are you able to control it? Well, yeah, because it's subscribe. I have a monthly subscription to 5,000 pills. No, like just because you're prescribed and trying to break that delusion is so hard, and it really does break my heart, right? Because I've watched like some of the richest women, they die because they don't think that they're one of us. You know what I mean? I'm like, bro, come on, dude.
I thought that going from like when I was, doing fentanyl, meth, and Xanax and stuff, like I didn't want to get drunk, and I drink a beer, and I'm used to drinking one beer, and I mean I'm done, I'm done, I'm not stopping. So I was like, maybe I'm not an alcoholic anymore.
Yeah.
Fucking
Once
smoke.
I
Just drink
stop-
one beer.
once I stop these drugs, I wonder what would happen. And
Right,
now
dude.
today it's just like I don't need to go find out. You know?
Right. And I can't tell you how many, the same conversation, I've had literally like 10 different conversations, but like 100 times of those 10 variations, you know what I mean? Or more. Where it's like, right, but when I was using, I really didn't drink like that. I'm like, because you were already fucked up on other things, you know? And well, when I was drinking, I wasn't like using drugs. I was like, because you were drunk. Like, I don't understand the fucking question, right? Like, because we think that we have to do all of it all the time. Like, we get this idea that we have to be like the most fucked up on anything that's in front of us 24/7 in order to qualify. Did you get more fucked up than you intended to? Great. That's called an allergy. You know what I mean? Like, did you consistently use more than you actually wanted to when you were of a sane and sound mind? Great. You're one of us, right? Like, let's stop fucking using all this, like, hyperbolic fucking wording to describe what fucking addiction alcoholism is, right? Well, I only had one beer when I was on all these other drugs, so I'm like, shut up. Like, because we really think that when we're in the throes of
A normal
it.
person doesn't think like that.
Normal people don't think like that. It's the same thing.
You
It's
know
like,
what I mean?
I've been sober for 22 days. I think I'm good. I'm like, that's not fucking normal. Like, no one thinks that way.
No one counts the days that they're sober.
Right? It's been 17 days since I overdosed. So, like, I'm cool. I'm like, listen, all right, you are a Looney Tune. Just like me. Right? Because a lot of times it's not even when we're in addiction, right? When we're in addiction, we're clear that we're fucked up. We're clear shit needs to change. It's 2 days sober. Right? That's when the obsession comes in. Take away the allergy, now we're just in the obsession. Shit gets fucking weird. Right? I start believing some weird fucking shit. I'm like, I wasn't even in the hospital that long.
That was like, so the first time that I went to somewhere,
A treatment center.
yes,
There you
thank
go.
you.
You're right.
Like the day I left, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah,
right?
no.
It wasn't that bad.
No.
And so I went home and I was like, man, 30 days sober? I'm gonna go shoot some oxen. Like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Let's celebrate, right?
It didn't work that way.
And no, it was like, I have enough knowledge, like, I can handle it. It's just insane. And
Literally
that started
textbook.
me. That was the beginning of
The end.
the end.
Well, it's like
Off
that's
to
why
the
this
bitter
doesn't
end.
work unless you do the work.
Right.
Because it's just delusion.
Yeah, I was
You know
literally
what
just
I
like
mean?
floating.
Like we're actually more sane. Like for me, I can only speak from experience. Like when I'm using, like I'm like, fuck, I didn't plan on this.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But then the next morning when I wake up and I'm like waking up like more present, like what are you gonna do?
Right.
We're gonna go take shots of Tito's right now. Is what we're gonna do.
Hair of the dog.
You know what I mean? And then that's where, and it's like a week later, I'm a week into fucking treatment, reading this book, having no understanding of it. And then I'm like, I'm not an alcoholic, I'm just depressed.
Yeah, I'm not like you people.
Espresso, and like I just need medication. I need something else to numb me again. Like that's the way my life's gonna be.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I'm hopeless.
Mm.
So unique because I'm so desperate.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm gonna read one more paragraph. Maybe. Perhaps there will never be a full answer to these questions. Opinions vary considerably as to why the alcoholic reacts differently from normal people. We are not sure why. Once a certain point is reached, little can be done for him. We cannot answer the riddle. The cool thing is, that I think is cool, is that since this has been written, right, the doctor's opinion was just an opinion. It was all just a theory. Like, we don't fucking know. You know, and I think it's also funny that like we in the rooms will like be like, they knew everything. This is the only thing that's ever made sense to anyone, and don't fucking ever come at it when they're like literally throughout this. They're like, well, I don't know. More will be disclosed to us, I guess, and something. But here's what we know for now. You know. And the idea that, like, what the mental obsession is, how they described it, is literally, like, that's fact, right? Like, a lot of times we're like, oh, but the big book has nothing to do with science. And it's like, kind of, but kind of it does. You know what I mean? Like, since then, so much of it has been proven true. The allergy happens. The mental obsession happens. The impulse part of our brain lights up and clouds out the decision-making part of our brain. We don't have power of choice, right? Like, that shit's fucking real. Our amygdala is all fucked up. Right? Like, that's what meditation fucking calms that shit down and actually, like, retrains the neural pathways. So we're gonna sit here and be like, oh, I'm not gonna meditate, that's fucking hippy-dippy, you want me to pray and do all this shit? When it's literally scientifically proven to work, right? Like, this isn't just, we are more and more and more answering the riddle. Why it happens? I don't fucking know. We don't fucking know. Is it hereditary? Sure, but why is two twins, you know, one's a dick and one's not. One's addicted and one's not. Who fucking knows? I don't fucking know. Do I believe that God chose me so that I could live this life of fucking recovery? I used to. No, I realize now that I was like actually super narcissistic in early sobriety. I am God's favorite. Like, we are the chosen ones. I really believe that. I said that to people, bro. We're the chosen ones, man. We have to live this life of integrity. And I don't believe that we're chosen, and I know that we do have to do that. You know what I mean? Which is pretty fucking cool. So who gives a fuck why, right? Wait. We know that while the alcoholic keeps away from the drink, as he may do for months or years, he reacts much like other men. We're equally positive that once he takes any alcohol, whatever, into his system, something happens, both in the bodily and mental sense, which makes it virtually impossible for him to stop. The experience of any alcoholic will abundantly confirm this, right? So we're talking just about the allergy in here. I think it's fair. It's super fair to say that take away the drugs and alcohol, and we do react like other people. I'm super emotionally unstable. I'm a fucking asshole. I'm inconsiderate, just like other fucking people, right? Because the spirituality doesn't qualify me. And that, just to like bring it full circle, that's where so many people in the rooms are being qualified by the malady and not the obsession and the allergy. And that's why we have a fucking problem. Do you feel alone in a crowded room? Do you feel like no one understands you? Are you not seen? Welcome to the 12 steps. You're an alcoholic. Like, no, you're not. You're sad.
That's
You know?
not a commercial for
You're a
depression.
human.
You're a fucking human. Right. Go take some Prozac.
Like a normal person.
Like a normal person. Or like go hiking. I don't know. Like do something with yourself. But like, you know, it's not here. Right? Because unless when you put fucking alcohol or some substance into your system, some shit fucking happens to you, right? And it is impossible for you to stay away from that first drink or drug. Then you're not one of us. You're just fucking not. You know, I was able to stop so I could go to school. Good for you. I'm so proud of you. I love that for you. That's super chill. Not my experience. Please stop coming to these meetings. You're causing so much fucking harm to people. And it's like people get so offended by that. Like, you can't tell me not to come to these meetings. You're right, I can't, but I'm fucking saying it anyway. Get the fuck out. Like, why do you want to be here? It's mean. Like, you just want to be special. Special. What? You want to be special so fucking bad.
Special. I don't belong over there.
Yeah.
Renee Brown told me to, okay?
That just reminds me of was it Fight Club when they go to all the meetings. They're like,
Yes.
Oh my god. His name
is Robert Paulson.
His name is Robert Paulson. Oh god, we're all gonna start chanting. Terrifying. God, I should watch that again.
Where they get to pick the meeting so they can feel seen.
Yeah. And yeah, no. Homie just went to all these meetings, made up all these illnesses just to be able to cry.
Like, that's why there's Facebook. Like, join a Facebook.
I don't know. It happens at my house. Wait, can you fix this? So can I
just need a hand.
What's happening over here? Ooh, I'll fix it. Token lesbian. She's crying. I don't know what's happening.
I just got something in my eye.
Sure, that's what they all say. But yeah, no, seriously though, like all the time. Like they come in. What's also funny to me is how, and I think we probably already talked about this, but like how offended people get from calling them normies, you know? Like, why are you offended that I'm saying that you're not an alcoholic when you're not an alcoholic? Why is that? And like people who know that they're not alcoholics, I'm like, yeah, you know, you got us and you got the normies. And they're like, well, I'm not normal. And I'm like, y'all call me a junkie and say I deserve to die, and you're upset that I'm calling you a normie. Fuck off. Okay? Like, let us have our things, you know? It's not a big fucking deal. It's so funny. And the spirituality is important. It is important to address. And that's why we have so many 12-step fellowships, because the 12 steps will absolutely help anybody who fucking does them. Self-awareness is a big fucking deal. 100, dude, are you, fuck. If I can go and sit down and actually look at every mistake I made, regardless of what someone else did to me, and then go and make amends to all these fucking people, and meditate every fucking day, and do a 10-step all the time, and have mentors that I bounce things off with, and not just act at a fucking impulse, the whole world would be better. Just don't call yourself a fucking alcoholic. And don't try to pretend that you understand what alcoholics are going through. Please have compassion. That's beautiful. I love that. Thank you for trying to understand, but don't say that we're the same, because then what you're going to do is minimize what's actually happening. And you're going to say, hey, man, I just need you to play the tape through. Just think through the drink. Remember your consequences. And it has nothing to fucking do with anything about us getting sober. You know? All right. It's about that time. I still don't know how to end these things. Y'all done?
Thanks, Nikki.
Thanks, bro. All right. With that, I'll pass. Or whatever.